Robbie Gordon now knows he's got it. The champion for the very first time in the series he founded, Robbie Gordon, is #1 in 2013 for SST.
The high-flying Speed Energy Super Trucks are back with Robbie Gordon ready to defend his title.
Bringing Stadium Super Truck back for year #2 is, we're excited about it. We've always said for years, off-road racing is the best kept secret in motorsports. My job is to try to grow it so people know exactly what it is.
This weekend, 5 race winners from last year will race through the streets of St. Petersburg, Florida for the very first time. It's spring break with Speed Energy Formula Off-Road, presented by Traxxas, and it's next on NBCSN. It is a rainy spring break in St. Petersburg, Florida. Welcome, everyone. Brian Till, along with former IndyCar driver Robbie Buell, and Jake Query down in the pit lane. Damp, well, that is an understatement. That's not the racetrack, that is the harbor, but that is the racetrack. Standing water everywhere, 1.8 miles, 14 turns worth of concrete-lined canyons here at the street circuit in St. Petersburg. Let's take a look at how the field will line up. A couple of 16-year-olds on the front row, Gavin Harlan alongside Scotty Steele.
And then from there, the guy's name who's on the series, Robbie Gordon, alongside Davey Hamilton, who made his debut at Toronto last year.
Round 3, Jarrett Brooks, P.J. Jones, they both won a race last year.
And then from there, Sheldon Creed, the kid that stands on the gas. He was his fastest qualifier yesterday alongside Justin Laughlin, who was a 3-time winner last year.
Abdali Lopez on the final row and working around on the pace lap, and this is going to be challenging for these guys. 600 horsepower in these super trucks, and they've got a real short wheelbase, Robbie, very narrow. It's going to be hard to control. No traction control, no ABS.
None of that, and these guys have never been out on this circuit in these wet conditions, and we just saw them coming down that little short chute there. And again, it's not just the conditions, it's also the visual aspect of this thing, of that water being kicked up off these treaded tires.
No windshield. You took a look at some of our shots from the Toyo onboard cameras. No windshield, so that water is going to be right in the driver's face. And you talk about the Toyo tires, they are DOT approved tires, and a problem for Davey Hamilton coming over one of the jumps. Those jumps are steel. You don't have any traction coming up the side of them.
No, think about that 600 horsepower on this wet surface to begin with. It's slick just out on the pavement, but then you get up onto that steel ramp. What's going to happen with that power there? We just saw what happened to Davey Hamilton.
Now, you and I both raced in the rain before, but we were Formula Car guys. You had a lot of aerodynamic downforce. These drivers today don't have that, and they are on the Toyo tire. We talked about it. It is a DOT, a street tire, fully treaded, trying to put down 600 horsepower on a very damp racetrack, a lot of standing water. Field coming around.
There you get a sense of that water that just stands in there. On board with Davey, take a look. Oh.
It's like just lost traction coming up the ramp there and lands it a little sideways, no control.
And there's nothing he can do with his hands when he went off the ramp and it kind of twisted sideways. It's not like he tried to catch it because you're in the air,
yep.
Right?
There's not a lot you can do.
He didn't counter it.
So the green flag is out, and we're racing in St. Petersburg. And here we go, Formula Off-Road. Down into turn 1, a lot of paint on the end of the front straightaway. This is actually a runway, and that is fitting because these guys are going to be flying it already. P.J. Jones with a problem.
Flips around there. But, you know, you talk about the paint that's at that runway. You get from the pavement onto the paint, it's like ice. It's absolutely a slick surface.
And all the practice has been done in the dry, so this first lap or two, it's all about exploring, and you can see these trucks sideways as they come through that first section. And now, you got to explore the braking zone down here. You've got to be careful. You don't have a lot of grip, and the brakes on these trucks very, very good. But once again, the tire is kind of the limiting factor.
And the guys do onboard, as we're on board right there, you do have a bias control that can put tire bias to the front, to the rear. So you always have that to play with. But like you say, is these trucks, they're light in the rear. They're always a little bit grabby in the rear. Look at that.
Leader gone. Scotty Steele was in front of Robbie Gordon. That didn't last long, not even a complete lap. Now Gordon on the far side of the track takes the lead, and they'll head down this long back straightaway. We've got a very fast kink in it, and that's going to be a challenge for these drivers.
So watch Steele here, but again, 600 horsepower, so he's just coming off of this turn 8. He's trying to go and put the power down, and there comes the rear of the car, grabbing a couple gears. There's a little handbrake turn. You see him grabbing that lever on the left. That's just to help spin that rear around and get him pointed in the right direction.
Well, and that's one of the problems, too. You grab too much of that handbrake, it's going to lock the rear tires. It's going to swap ends pretty quick, and that's exactly what happened to Scotty Steele. Look at Robbie Gordon now sliding wide as they come through turn 10, and the last of the jumps here, and a problem back there in the back for the 77.
Jarrett Brooks back there with the Synergy electric car.
Man, it is challenging. I don't think I've ever raced, and I don't think we would have raced in a Formula car with this kind of water standing on the racetrack.
No, it was funny being in the paddock with these guys earlier on this day. I mean, we had huge storms that came through, and these guys were like, let us get out there and race. I didn't think we were going to see any racing today, but sure enough, they got their wish right now.
Well, and you think about what they're used to racing is they come down the straightaway, that runway that we talk about here in St. Petersburg, and then into the heavy braking zone on the far end. They're used to having dirt and mud thrown in their face, but this is something completely new. While they're getting that dirt and mud thrown in their face, what they're not used to, Robbie, is the concrete walls around it. So these drivers, there's no margin for error on this racetrack. If you spin, chances are you're going to make contact.
And visually, like you say, you're not in any open road. You're kind of in a tunnel, and it really changes your perspective of how you look into things. You don't have that grace zone, if you will.
Justin Lofton now takes the point. He has a different perspective because now he has no spray in his face. With Robbie Gordon's problem into that braking zone, Justin Lofton has moved back to the point. He was magic in these trucks last year.
And you'll see these guys moving all over as they come into the braking zones, whether it's at turn 1 or turn 4 there, is they're just searching for any kind of grip. And that's what you have to do. If it looks dry and there may be traction over there, try it.
Robbie Gordon all over Justin Lofton now, and P.J. Jones is going to get into the mix. Look at this. Gordon going to lay a little bumper.
Hello. And this is incredibly fast section. PJ, as he's laying that bumper, there goes PJ. But very fast section. That's just a little left-hand king. They're doing close to 100 miles an hour through there.
Now into another heavy braking zone. P.J. Jones now trying to put the moves on Justin Lofton. He does as they come to the last of the jumps.
And he's got him over the jump.
Tell you what, the jumps in and of themselves are a challenge today. We talk about it, how wet it is. That steel surface of the jump makes it very, very difficult. P.J. Jones now has taken over the lead, and they'll turn on to the front straightaway.
Robbie just looking outside. But if you look at these three guys up here between Justin, P.J., and Robbie, I would say these are three of the most experienced guys of all kinds of racing, but of racing on pavement relative to some of these young 16-year-olds that have just had dirt experience, and you see them kind of rising up.
Gordon looking to the inside. He's been running this braking zone low all day long, trying to take advantage of the grip down on the inside. Yeah, he's got the grip and he gets it done.
And again, look at the different lines where Lofton was always on the way left-hand side of the track, and there was Robbie, like you say, diving down the inside, just looking for anywhere to get grip to slow that truck down.
Robbie Gordon picking up where he left off. He won the championship in 2013. Right now from St. Petersburg, he leads over P.J. Jones and Justin Lofton. Speed Energy Formula Off-Road is brought to you by Traxxas, the fastest name in radio control. And by Toyo Tires, driven to perform. Drivers certainly performing here at St. Petersburg under difficult conditions, but this was during the break on board with Sheldon Creed. That was not a noise you want to hear, Robbie.
No, you definitely hear a little bit of something flopping around, whether it's drivetrain related or something, but something isn't working there.
So that was a problem. I had to get Sheldon Creed out of the way. Green flag flies again.
And look at Robbie diving down to the inside. This is where he likes us. Now, there you have the different paint. It's a little slicker there, and he's just kind of run that track trying to find the grip.
You talk about experience. All three guys out front have that experience. Robbie Gordon, obviously, with experience off-road, Indy cars, and in stock cars as well. Abdali Lopez with a spin. He has experience in the rain. So does P.J. Jones. And those guys are the ones that know how to think about where is the grip on the racetrack in this damp condition. Sometimes it's not on that normal, quote, racing line.
No, and if you think about a normal racing line, and they've raced for the last 10 years in St. Pete, that normal racing line gets polished, and that's Davey. Davey was kind of running that normal brake zone, and just, you know, the rears just got a little locked up, and around it came. But that can be polished.
That's where all the fluid gets dropped. Like you said, it's where the Indy cars run on the ground. They polish the pavement, makes it very, very slick. And all this paint P.J. Jones now with a problem. We talked about his experience. That kind of bit him. All of this paint fills in those little grooves on the asphalt, and it makes it very, very slick. You don't want to be on the paint in the rain. Look at the wheel spin as they try to accelerate.
Yeah, and another thing, when you're on a temporary circuit like this, we talked about how, you got polished sections, you have oil and grease that comes up. But remember, the road's crowned in certain places, so you have puddles that gather in different areas, and you got to kind of pinpoint where they are. Look at this race between
good stuff.
Lofton and Gordon side by side off the ramp.
Two guys that will not give an inch. Justin Lofton really taking it to Gordon, and you want to be out front, because you want to lead, but in these conditions, the spray,
you want to see.
You want to be able to see, exactly. Lofton can see his way onto the front straightaway. Gordon having nothing to do. Look at the water that comes in.
Yeah, we talked about you got to kind of pinpoint where the puddles are right there. Lofton hit a puddle, boom, came right back through to Robbie's face. And
look at that, cuts back underneath him, and Gordon out with the run, and watch him drop low in the braking zone down here at the end of the front straightaway. It's been his line all day long. Better grip down there. Lofton staying high on the paint, all the runway markers.
Yeah, but more so in the middle than he was the time before. So he keeps searching for different avenues to say, hey, can I get better bite under braking here?
Justin Lofton over the jumps, almost into the bed of Robbie Gordon's super truck. Working through turns 1 and 2. Now a short shoot. We'll get down to this area, the right, left, right of turns 4, 5, 6, and 7. Look at the two very different lines.
But I'm still really amazed at really how well these trucks are performing in these conditions, and for these guys not having a lot of track time under rainy conditions in these trucks, of just how yellow-free, caution-free this event has been.
Well, and what you notice is the rain's not coming down real hard anymore. That means the racetrack's going to change every single lap. It's always going to be different. Every lap is a little bit of an exploration, so to speak, and Justin Lofton really kind of trying to figure things out a little bit. Look at Gordon get loose as he tries to put that 600 horsepower to the ground.
You take dry conditions, just trying to get these trucks to hook up and put that power down is a challenge. You throw down this wet surface, you just saw it is, and Robbie gets it a little deep into turn 10. There he goes.
Where did he go?
Right out of our screen. Here comes Lofton.
Gordon is gone, and Justin Lofton takes over the point. Just got it wrong in the braking zone there. We talked about how different the racetrack is every lap. Robbie just guessing a little bit of what it was going to be like, and it was gone.
And if you think a little bit, say, oh, it's drying up a little bit, or I found a little bit more traction, I can go in deeper. Whoop, we just saw Robbie blow right through that corner.
Lofton takes over the lead. Robbie Gordon, then Brooks, then Jones, then Gavin Harlan in his first event. But Robbie Gordon is going to be mad at himself, and he's going to try to chase down Justin Lofton down the front straight, down the airport runway one more time across the line. All of these trucks identical, Robbie, but you can pick the setup that you want. You can adjust the shocks. Look at this. Gordon down the inside. Lofton, whoa, he throws it away.
He does, but look at he's going to toss it back around. He's going to sneak back in there in about the 4th spot.
So Robbie Gordon has a problem, loses the lead. Justin Lofton returns the favor, and Robbie Gordon one more time up front from here in St. Pete. Gordon over Brooks, P.J. Jones, Justin Lofton, and newcomer Gavin Harlan rounds out the top 5. Formula Off-Road from the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. From running in the dirt and the mud over the big jumps, it's now concrete canyons and steel ramps here on a very soggy St. Pete. Robbie Gordon maintains the point. You ride on board with P.J. Jones trying to take the battle right now to 16-year-old Jarrett Brooks right in front. Gordon a little wide again. Same turn he had the problem in last time around.
And that was a good look by P.J. and great job of Jarrett just kind of not giving into it. But there, P.J. got by him as they got off the ramp, and Jarrett Brooks pops back into the 3rd spot.
And this is the awesome thing about Formula Off-Road racing. The battles are everywhere on the racetrack. You never know what you're going to get, and the rain just makes it even that much more compelling. Think about the lead changes. We've seen 3 of them in the last 2 laps, and positions changing back and forth behind them. Very difficult conditions these drivers are having to deal with.
And totally different driving styles amongst all guys. And we were just on board there with Brooks. You saw where he was just using that handbrake, if that's what you want to call it, just to rotate the car a bit, and then just going through the gears. But again, putting power down is just Tough.
And who's sneaking back up? Justin Lofton now back up to third, and he's going to be all over the tailgate of P.J. Jones' Super Truck right in front. Gordon out in front, followed by P.J. Jones, and then Justin Lofton. And you got to be impressed with these young guns in the field. Jarrett Brooks being one of them, running fourth right now. These kids, very, very impressive. Scotty Steele, Gavin Harlan, Jarrett Brooks.
No, I mean, you take Jarrett Brooks. You know, he had one win last year, but again, for a 16-year-old, come to this, you're running in these tunnels. You got the walls all around you. It's not like an open off-road course. You got all these walls, and then you throw in the wet conditions, the changing surface, the paint. It's all new. Doing a fantastic job.
And Sheldon Creed was doing a good job until his mechanical problem a little bit earlier, I should say. It's taking my breath away watching Jarrett Brooks all over the back of Justin Lofton. I mean, think about the experience differential here. All the things that Justin Lofton has done, his NASCAR experience, he's got a 16-year-old right behind him.
No, fantastic stuff, and it's just interesting. I love when we go on board, when we're on board there with Jarrett Brooks, of just, he is going up through the gears. You got 3 gears that you can go from, but remember, in these type of conditions, you don't necessarily want to always be in a low gear. When you're trying to put that power down, you want to be in a tall gear so you're not just got a ton of torque where you just lighten up the rear end.
And perhaps that's one of the problems that Sheldon Creed had. Whoa, talk about a problem. Oh, goodness.
That is just a quick switchback. Turns 11, 12 through there, and Lofton just got tied up. That's okay. He said, I'll bail out, just go through the grass here, no big deal.
Well, it's one of the benefits of driving a truck that has 26 inches of travel in it. You can jump these curves without a problem. White flag, I was talking about Sheldon Creed. You get on the rev limiter by running in these low gears in these wet conditions. If you stay on it too long, you can have an engine problem. Perhaps that's what happened to Sheldon Creed. Certainly heard that noise from what sounded like the engine compartment. You got to stay off the rev limiter. And like you said, Lofton again in his nemesis turn.
We've seen him do that before right there.
Perhaps just on the rev limiter a little much. And look at that big P.J. Jones. Man, second place,
but he's
and
on
he
the
has
gas.
damaged that front suspension. That's not going to work when he gets down to the next series of corners.
No,
I'm not sure he knows it.
It looks great right now, but what's going to happen when he goes to the brake pedal here and all that momentum and weight transfers up front, it's going to be tough to get that truck slowed down. There he is off to the left. Yep.
You've seen this before.
No, I felt that before.
You've lived that before.
And we've seen it. We've seen it as well. Look at that.
You could tell the acceleration was going to be okay. The cornering was going to be the problem. Right now, everybody dropping back from Robbie Gordon. They've had their problems, and Gordon certainly had his share of them in the early going. But now beginning to pull out from Justin Lofton a little bit. Just a half a lap to go.
Look at him putting power down there, just coming
or not.
Or not putting power down. Just you can hear the throttle in and out, just trying to get that rear to hook up.
Once again, these DOT Toyo tires, the same tires you can put on your truck at home, are being punished on this street circuit with the 600 horsepower. Gordon taking a lot more careful that time into that braking zone.
Yeah, he's only got a couple turns left to get to the checkered flag, but it is amazing what these tires do throughout the weekend. Every competitor is just given one set of those Toyo all-terrain tires for the weekend, and it's up to them to manage them. They can move them from the back to the front or change them, but it's just that one set.
Well, the man who's managed the racetrack better than anyone, not without his problems, as we chronicled a little bit earlier, is Robbie Gordon. One more time onto the front straightaway. Certainly Justin Lofton not letting him get away, but Robbie Gordon down the front straight, down the airport runway, sees the checkered flag in sight, and Robbie Gordon wins the very first round of 2014. Gordon followed by Brooks, then Justin Lofton. They round out the top 3 and some celebrations down in turn 1. We'll be back to a very soggy St. Petersburg with plenty of celebration right after this. Back at St. Petersburg, the boats in the harbor, the drivers used everything but the boats. Let's hear from our winner with Jake Query.
Robbie Gordon victorious in St. Petersburg. When you're a kid, they tell you when it's raining, come in and don't play out in the rain. But I'll tell you what, you guys, it started raining, no worries. Everybody played and had fun, but that was fun to watch. A little bit hairy, though.
It was definitely hairy. With the rubber down on the racetrack from the other cars, you really had to be offline. I mean, the best way I could get it stopped was down through this, like coming in the hairpin in turn 1, was all the way up against the curb or the grass was the most grip. If you're out there where the paint was on the runway or other rubber was, it was really slippery.
Looked like you were getting a little bit squirrely on the last, let's say, half lap to a lap or so. What did you feel in terms of your SST moving down towards the checkered flag?
You know, the car was good. It just was really, really hard to put power down. You know, when you try to put 650 horsepower down to a wet race surface, it doesn't get any weight transfer. You know, we were set up for some dry conditions. Unfortunately, when it started raining, we didn't have the time to disconnect bars or do any of that. So it's set up in dry, and as the road racers know, you got to have a different setup for rain and dry.
I thought the rain made it fun to watch. I'm sure it was fun to run, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Well, thank you very much. You know, I think this boy right here, Jared Brooks, did a great job. I mean, for the first pavement race, rain race, not a scratch on his car. I'm proud of him, and obviously Justin and myself, we had a good battle, so that was cool.
Good battles up front. We'll talk to second and third in just a minute. Your winner is Robbie Gordon.
Indeed, Robbie Gordon knows how to win these races. He won the championship, but Robbie said it himself. Jared Brooks, you got to be impressed.
No question about it. I mean, in these conditions, to come here and run on this pavement where even Robbie said it was horrible online, to have that experience is great.
Let's hear from the rest of our podium with Jake.
Jared Brooks just 16 years old, which means you would think that perhaps he's as close to still running one of these as he is one of those trucks, but finishing second behind Robbie Gordon. Congratulations, young man. Looked like fun, I assume it was.
Oh, that was probably the gnarliest race we've ever had in these trucks, you know. It really doesn't look like it's that slick out there, but oh my God, it's so slick. You know, coming on the front straightaway, we were keeping it in third gear, and we couldn't even get wide open on the straightaway. We were, I was just waiting for people to make mistakes. You know, I think everyone made at least a couple mistakes, and everyone just had a lot of wheel spin. And down the front straightaways or anywhere, you could really pull on them and get them. So it was gnarly though. I want to thank everyone for helping us out and putting on this awesome series.
And of course, Robbie Gordon afterwards complimentary of the fact that you brought it back in one piece. Now, you finishing in second, of course, Robbie in first, and finishing out the podium here is Justin Lofton. Funny because you're a guy who's won in this series, 2 wins a year ago. So you finished podium, and instead of being happy about it, you think, you know what, I left something out there. A little bit disappointed?
Oh, I'm very disappointed. I spun out twice, and I not only spun out twice, I spun out twice in front of the main grandstand. So, and once when I was leading, and once when I was in second. So it's disappointing, but hey, we came out here, we had a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun here in St. Petersburg, and I want to thank Cometic Gaskets and #AllBeef and everyone else that helps put this series on. And hopefully it's sunny and dry tomorrow, and we're going to go out there and bring home the big trophy.
Wet and wild today. We look for hot and sunny tomorrow, but either way, it's going to be a lot of fun. Congratulations.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Justin Lofton finishing third here in St. Petersburg, the first of 2 for, of course, the SSTs.
Justin Lofton upset that he spun in front of the big grandstands. He'll have a chance to redeem himself in round 2 tomorrow. We'll be right back. And what a difference 24 hours makes. Formula Off-Road from the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Saturday was one heck of a downpour, and today it is a beautiful spring day in St. Pete. This is exactly what the competitors, what the fans wanted to see. Trucks lined up on the front straightaway, and we should have an awesome show today, Robbie Buell.
No question, and a totally different track than what these guys experienced yesterday in the wet conditions.
They're the steel ramps. You talk about a totally different track. They've actually moved some of the steel ramps, so it's a different layout, per se, than it was yesterday. So the ramps in a couple of different places, but the drivers still have plenty of challenges, even with the water being gone. The speeds are going to be up. The braking zones are going to be longer. Challenges are certainly going to be there. Sheldon Creed will start up front alongside Davey Hamilton.
And Jarrett Brooks, who had a good run yesterday, bringing it home second alongside Justin Lofton, who was really upset of where he spun yesterday in race 1.
Robbie Gordon won yesterday. He'll start alongside P.J. Jones in row 3.
Gavin Harland, who finished 4th, his first time ever in these trucks this weekend, along with Abdali Lopez.
Scotty Steele bringing up the back, but he doesn't want to stay there for long, and at the drop of the green, look for him to move forward. There you are with Scotty Steele from his Toyo onboard camera. He's getting set for the start. Gavin Harland hadn't even sat in a super truck until 2 days ago, and now he's racing, and he put in a heck of a show yesterday.
No, to bring it home yesterday,
yeah.
You know, your first time in these trucks, but then again, to be in this environment of a street race in these conditions, the rainy conditions, not the rainy conditions, the absolute downpour conditions that we had yesterday. And, you know, I'm so amazed at how these trucks perform, and just, you know, their durability is incredible with the ramps and the jumps and the bumping. And then everybody else is sensing that too, because fans, when these cars trucks head out on the track, the fans come running to the sidelines and the fences to see what's going on.
Standing start today. Yesterday they opted for a rolling start, but typically you'll see a standing start in Formula Off-Road. You see the starter there on the wall with the green flag. He holds it horizontal, then he'll drop it down. Then he'll wait a couple of seconds and throw the green, and we'll be racing in round 2 of the 2014 Formula Off-Road season. Get ready.
And Davey Hamilton sitting there on the pole.
There we go. All right, Robbie Buell, what are we going to see in turn 1? We had plenty of excitement down here yesterday.
And I can tell you, Davey's happy to have it dry and have a dry ramp to hit this time. He's going to get to that first ramp in turn 2.
Yeah, he leads off the first ramp, and here we go. The drivers, they had a dry track in practice the other day. Hamilton looking down, maybe making an adjustment to some brake bias onto the straightaway the first time. Already Sheldon Creed into the wall. He had that engine problem yesterday, and now he's already damaged his truck on lap 1.
And you can see his just kind of rear bumper frame is hanging down a little bit. It looks like some of it that debris got into the left front of P.J. Jones as well.
Justin Lofton running in second, followed by Jarrett Brooks. Brooks, the youngster with a great run yesterday. Hamilton trying to hold on to the lead up front. Robbie Gordon trying to avoid the problems. He wants to make it back up front, but you got to be careful here. You got time to get it done. You can't be impatient.
No, you got to take advantage of when everybody's together. But again, you don't want to force something to happen where it takes you out. But you want to pressure somebody just as Lofton looks down the inside of Hamilton.
What did I say about patience? Justin Lofton showing no patience, but it was there.
He set it up. Yeah, he set up perfectly. That's clean, and off he goes.
Look at Davey Hamilton not having anything to do with it. Comes back on Lofton side by side in the air. Once again, fitting that part of this racetrack is on an airport, because they're getting ready to air it out as they come onto the front straightaway, and they'll hit a steel jump that was not on the runway yesterday.
And to me, it really is amazing how well these trucks handle. You see everybody slideways, but it's
slideways.
I just made that up. They're sliding the truck just a little bit, but they're controlling it. The car doesn't have a gross push or understeer as we talk in road racing. It does have a balance that these guys can make in the car.
Sheldon Creed, impressive. He's moving forward even after the damage to the truck. Up to second. See if he settles it down a little bit through turns 2 and 3 where he had the problem on the last lap.
He obviously, and Creed obviously didn't hurt that left rear too bad. I mean, in terms of towing it out or breaking anything there, because he's on the gas.
Look at this over the jump. Oh, God. Oh, Davey Hamilton. Hard.
And that was on the front straightaway. That happened on the back straightaway, Drem 2, where he really nosed it down in, didn't he?
And that's part of the setup on these trucks. You can adjust the shocks, and you got to adjust them right, Robbie, to get them to fly over these jumps, because if you adjust them wrong, you're going to get that lawn dart action, as we call it, and it's exactly what we saw Davey Hamilton do.
Gordon looking down the inside of Davey as they head into 10.
Thank you.
Oh, no.
Problems. Lofton with a problem. Creed with a problem.
Lofton comes right out in front
Sheldon
of Hamilton.
Creed.
That was Lofton, though, that came right out in front of Davey Hamilton and said, I'm coming back on the track.
Yeah, Creed managed to slip through there, but man, you can see it can go away quickly. Gordon takes advantage. He slips by Sheldon Creed. Whoa! And there's that setup, that lawn dart we talked about, P.J. Jones.
That, so that's where I am so impressed by these Traxxas trucks, is to have that car just hammer down into the pavement like that and not break that suspension.
Break the suspension? What about the driver inside of it? Impressive.
I wasn't even thinking of that. I'm just looking at the durability of the truck.
Now, this is the replay of what happened down in turn 10. On board, Justin Lofton, he spins.
And leader of the race at that time.
Sheldon Creed almost wipes out the front of Lofton's truck.
Robbie Gordon goes by, and then we saw Davey Hamilton just kind of hammer into the side of Lofton there, and off he goes.
Looking out of the back of Justin Lofton. Oh, man, he hit harder than I thought.
We didn't get a sense of that at all with spinning it in there.
On board with Sheldon Creed. I think he sees Lofton
follow
spin.
The leader.
There we go. And he does a good job to get back in action.
But a lot of times in racing, you do see follow the leader.
Yeah.
If you're looking at that guy in front of you, he makes a mistake. Sometimes he sucks you into doing the same thing.
Well, you say it to young drivers all the time when you're doing coaching, don't drive someone else's car. You can't. You've got to drive yours. Don't get sucked into their mistake.
Easy to say.
Right now, yeah, exactly. Jarrett Brooks trying to follow P.J. Jones. We'll be back to St. Petersburg, more Formula Off-Road. Talk about fan favorite, Formula Off-Road certainly quickly becoming fan favorites. These guys enjoying watching the high-flying trucks from here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. P.J. Jones has a mirror full of Jarrett Brooks and Robbie Gordon right there with him. Brooks down to the inside. And Jones still with that nose-diving truck over that jump. It seems like he's just running a completely different setup. Brooks all over the back of him.
And then in the fourth spot there, when you saw the jump of Creed, when he hit, he finally lost that rear bumper frame that's sitting right in the middle of the track.
Look at Jarrett Brooks. Thank you, I'll take over the point, but look at PJ coming back on him. Can't get it done before they get to the jump, and Jarrett Brooks takes over the point.
And pretty darn impressive. Again, remember him bringing home in second place. There's that rear bumper frame that we talked about.
And the beautiful thing about this series is they don't throw a lot of full course cautions. They let the guys race.
And the good news is you can't see that as you're approaching the ramp, so you don't know it's there until you're up in the air, and then you can think about doing something.
The corner workers will throw a debris flag, but that's about it. Yeah, once you're up in the air, you may think about doing something, but no controls once you're up in the air, right?
No.
It is what it is. And what it is right now is Robbie Gordon now putting the pressure on P.J. Jones. Jones, not one willing to succumb to pressure. He's had these kinds of situations plenty of times in his driving career, but Robbie Gordon, one tough customer right behind him.
But Jones right now, he's all over Brooks. He just wants to force him into making a little mistake, looking down the inside. He's going to get it done.
Oh, he is.
And he just forced Brooks to go a little bit deeper on his brakes, therefore sliding a little wide, opening the door.
Opening the door for not only P.J. Jones, but Robbie Gordon as well. Looks like, talk about that setup, looks like a little less body roll on P.J. Jones' truck, but it doesn't fly as well as some of the other trucks out there. Gordon and Brooks seem to have a little more level platform, so to speak, as they come over the jump.
As I'm learning about, we saw the yellow flag in the debris. That's for that debris right there. Yellow for the competition low. But what I've learned about these trucks is, like you say, Robbie says, these cars could be really stuck to the ground like a Trans Am car, but they're not. They're trucks. They got to hit ramps. So everybody can do something, but the amount of body roll and the control that drivers have, again, I'm really amazed at their durability and performance of a truck on this type of street circuit.
It's truly stunning. Now, the full course caution, take a look. The replay, Sheldon Creed comes up over. Yeah, I'll just leave that out there.
Yeah. He didn't even know. I mean, he knew that was hanging, but that doesn't even affect him. He's just looking forward.
So we've got the full course caution, so we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back to Formula Off-Road from St. Petersburg, where P.J. Jones leads. You know the great thing about Speed Energy Formula Off-Road presented by Traxxas? You can drive one. Well, you can't probably get out on the racetrack unless you have a racing license, but they've got these vendor booths set up at the racetracks, and you can play with these trucks. They are awesome.
And these little trucks can do just what the big trucks do. They can roll over, flip, and they keep going.
And everybody loves to go to these booths. My kids have a couple of them, and you're right. They are incredibly durable, just like the trucks on the racetrack. And the trucks on the racetrack are getting ready to go back to green. And we talk about how tough, and I think the trucks are awesome. It should be explained, too. They're modular. You can take off the front clip, the back clip, bolt it back on. So there's not a lot of cutting that has to be done if they have to rebuild one of these and they have a big crash. Robbie Gordon and his guys, what a great design they came up with, and they mimic those Traxxas radio-controlled vehicles in a lot of ways, and durability is certainly one of them. Coming back for the green, they left the bumper out there in the racetrack.
Just a little more challenge. Makes it a little gamey out there. That's okay.
Now, the guys in the back should remember that it's there the next time by, but you know, as a race car driver, how short our memory is. It'll be interesting to see. P.J. Jones stacks them up. The green flag waves, and here we go. Turn one's going to be interesting. Jones with a great jump, Robbie.
Great gap. He's got 3 laps. Look at Creed looking right down the inside, and he's got it on Brooks. Where's Robbie going to end up in this?
When you get a couple of 16-year-olds fighting, now it should be pointed out, 2 guys there fighting, Sheldon Creed and Jarrett Brooks, their ages combined don't add up to Robbie Gordon's. I know he'll be happy with me saying that.
I was going to say, he's going to be thankful that you nicely pointed that out. And that's Creed in the 3rd place in that silver truck by Brooks in the white one in the 4th spot. Creed looks down the inside right now. You got a left-hander here. Are you going to make it work? No, you're not. You had to give it up.
But you got to be impressed. They don't care that it's Robbie Gordon. They really don't. In fact, I think they relish the thought that they're fighting with one of the best in the business.
And he just passed him on the outside of turn 8. Very different than regular road racing stuff. When we look at the Indy cars around here, you know, there's a lot more patience involved in the approach. I mean, this stuff, these guys are throwing it all out there.
But you know what, the thing I like, I was watching Sheldon Creed trying to outbrake Gordon just a couple of corners ago, releasing the brake, and he threw it away that time. He's going to slide wide.
He's going to keep it off the wall.
He kept it off the wall. Look at Lofton go around the outside of the jump there. He didn't feel like he could get on the jump. You certainly don't want to bicycle it.
No, but the way Creed came back onto the track, he had to do that or they were going to come together. A little lock up there. The right front of PJ's car lifts. PJ, he's got Robbie Gordon in that orange truck all over him.
We talked about the punishment.
Oh, there's our
DOT,
piece.
Yep.
The
These DOT tires, Sheldon Creed
Oh.
just nicked it, his own bumper. He should have remembered he left it there.
You know, and that's something. Did you see how quick
Look
the
at
steering
Lofton.
reaction is?
Lofton, the white truck down to the far left, trying to get inside Brooks. He doesn't. Sheldon Creed around the outside.
What a fantastic job on the brake pedal by Brooks. Remember, these cars, you have all this movement. You have the full treaded Tayo all-terrain tires. To just have that balance and make that stick under braking like he did into 1-1. Awesome job by Lofton.
Gordon all over the back of P.J. Jones, but back to the Toyo tire for a minute. We talked about it getting punished yesterday. This is punishment today. 600 plus horsepower. You see the smoke coming off of them. I'm impressed with the truck. I'm impressed with that you can do this to a tire.
No, the whole package of these SSE trucks, what they have going with Traxxas and Toyo, just the balance of them really has got to be fun to drive. Again, they got a spool rear end that sometimes drives them and has the car push a little bit off the corner, but you can break it loose with the gas. Come on, Robbie.
Gordon looks to the inside, up and over the curbs. I think P.J. Jones' truck, it handles a little bit better through the tighter sections, but Gordon can really get the power down coming off of the corners, and he's better over the jumps.
And that's the key, is make the straightaways as long as you can and figure out how you can get the power down. And with these trucks, you touched on a little bit earlier, Brian, you know, you can adjust the shocks, the springs, you can adjust your toes, but you do have minimums and maximums of window you got to stay in.
1 lap to go. Robbie Gordon, Justin Lofton right behind him. Can they do anything with P.J. Jones? Gordon running the low line yesterday in the wet, takes the high line in the braking zone into turn 1 today, closes the gap. Nothing doing here.
Another place we'll see Robbie take a good look at PJ. They come through this section here, 2 and 3. Look at PJ just picking up that inside tire, but this is a good passing opportunity in turn 4. We're on board with Robbie. Looking at it, PJ says, I want to take that away from you in there.
Defends to the inside, and a great battle for third just behind Brooks. Gets past Lofton.
Way clean pass by, again, 16-year-old. Just that, showing that maturity to make that clean like that by Brooks on Lofton.
Look at these first 5 trucks, though. You can throw the proverbial blanket over them as Jones over the jump there. Sheldon Creed holding on to the back of this group. He wants to work his way back up to the front.
And did you see his truck as he's putting the power down there? He's just getting after it, and it's sideways, but he's going forward.
P.J. Jones.
Look at that.
Works a little better in the high-speed stuff. Sheldon Creed on Lofton. Impressive stuff. This is where he's had the problem before. Slide job on Lofton. Lofton's going to get it back, though. And he does. P.J. Jones holds on to the lead. Gordon closing down. Just a few corners left.
This is it right here. Turns 13, 14, leading on the front straightaway. Come on, PJ, you got to hold that inside line. Don't give it.
Gordon
Don't open
slides
the door.
underneath. The run to the checkered flag. One more jump up and over P.J. Jones. Gordon avoiding the bumper there in the racetrack, closing down the distance. Can he do anything? Here comes the line, the checkered flag. P.J. Jones wins round 2. Impressive stuff. Robbie Gordon right behind him. A completely different day. The weather conditions absolutely perfect today, and a perfect day for P.J. Jones. We'll be back to the celebrations from St. Pete. Speed Energy Formula Off-Road has been brought to you by Traxxas, the fastest name in radio control. And by Toyo Tires, driven to perform. Talk about performing. P.J. Jones certainly performed today. Gets a handshake from Robbie Gordon. Man, PJ, I think he's a bit winded after that one. It was awesome stuff in the top 5. We talked about it, covered by a blanket.
Fantastic. And you saw the different driving styles in the way the trucks launch off the ramp. But in the end, you know, it all comes down to the driver in this series.
Let's hear from P.J. Jones.
Yesterday when I talked to P.J. Jones, he said, I just pretend that everybody's money's in the back of the truck and they're chasing me and I'm running away from it. Good news! You got away. Congratulations.
I got all the dough today, but you know, yesterday I just made a little mistake on the last lap. We were the fastest car, and I thought I had a shot at Robbie. I thought I was gonna, just force him into a mistake yesterday, and I made the mistake. So to come back and redeem myself, and it was a great race. And racing with Brooks, racing with Robbie's awesome. Sheldon is always wild, and it's great. And I just want to say thanks to Traxxas, Speed Energy, Robbie Gordon for giving us this opportunity.
You know, the funny thing about these trucks is, and the fun thing for the fans, you can take a little beating and banging in those Traxxas trucks and still just keep on going. It doesn't matter if you leave debris behind, you just keep on racing.
Absolutely. I thought I'd better keep all the body work on it for Air Raid and American Racing Wheels so that everybody know my sponsors. But other than that, we just tear it up,
PJ, congratulations. A lot of fun.
Thank you.
All right, PJ Jones wins the second of the 2 races here in his Traxxas SST in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Thanks, Jake. PJ won the final round of last season. Wins the second round this year. Robbie Gordon right now on top of the points. You would expect him to be there after 2 great runs. 2 other drivers with a good run today. Let's head back down to Jake.
Different weather conditions, familiar podium. Robbie Gordon yesterday first, now in second. And I'll tell you what, you got the track to ride off, you got the sun, got a little more air. Crowd loved it and had fun, but did you?
It was a little hairy. This is the first time this year we've hit the metal ramps, and obviously we can tune the trucks just a little bit. PJ had a big lawn dart that he pulled off down there in turn 14. So after seeing that, I was just a little bit of a sis hitting the ramps today. But, it was a good run. I got an opportunity to get a slide job on PJ in the last corner. Just didn't have enough. I buzzed the tires coming off, and he was able to get away from me.
Yesterday, you were impressed with this young man that finished in third because you said, hey, to come out on that wet surface and still bring it home in one piece says a lot about the trucks. Says a lot about Jared Brooks, too.
No, Jared Brooks is very capable. He's doing a good job, and his truck's virtually clean, so he's done an awesome job all weekend long, keeping the truck clean, keeping it reliable, and he's got himself 2 podiums this weekend, so that's a good job.
Let's get a word with him, the young 16-year-old. Yesterday, you had said it was the gnarliest run you'd had in a while. Today, beautiful track conditions, crowd was big. Did you have fun?
That was an insane race, Today we really got to, everyone was really bunched up, so you could really see how good everyone was. So today was insane, everyone was battling really gnarly. The top 5 trucks were all right there. So one mistake, I made one mistake and went back to 5th place. And so it was really all about making no mistakes. And I just tried to stay consistent and calm. And you could see all the other drivers that weren't calm and they would fall back. So it was an awesome race. It was an awesome opportunity that I get to get. And I want to thank Traxxas for helping Robbie out, and Robbie for building all these awesome trucks, and Indy for letting us come out here and run their track.
Obviously, he's knocking on the door. That 3rd place could turn in to another 2nd or 1st before the season's over with.
Absolutely, Jake. I think so. You talk about gnarly, Robbie. Take a look at this. This is the battle with Sheldon Creed and Justin Lofton for the last couple of laps. Creed got wide, Lofton goes around the ramp, and I don't think Sheldon Creed was very happy about it.
No, because there's Sheldon Creed from a little different vantage point looking back off of Lofton's car saying, what was that about you missing that jump back there?
And it wasn't just once, it wasn't just twice.
As debris falls off.
Well, he lost the rear bumper early on, and now he wants to make sure that maybe the front bumper's not there either.
But the call on that, as we saw that where Lofton had to miss that was him avoiding contact when Creed shot back on the track. So there was no 5-second penalty put to him by USAC on that. So it was all fair game.
And it was great racing, and you can see Sheldon is he's rabid there, and he kind of throws it away there in turn 10. Trying to do the slide job on Lofton, slides right past him. Justin Lofton saw it coming, I think, and said, no, that's not going to happen. But watch this. Talk about possessed.
Whoa!
Good. Gnarly. That's gnarly.
That's gnarly. That's coming into the corner with some big speed.
Well, I think he was willing to make sure that maybe Justin Lofton didn't get through
Hello.
as well. Hello.
They're not done.
No, he's not done. Sheldon Creed, not happy at all with what went on there at the jump. But like you said, no penalties there. And this is what the people come to see. This is what Formula Off-Road is about.
The fans love it. And you're so ingrained. At the IndyCar weekends, at these events, the fans are ingrained to say, oh, we're just going to see, cars that stay on the pavement. when these trucks, trucks are there, the fans go crazy. They got their cameras, video cams out, and loving it. Something new. It's a wow.
Speed Energy Formula Off-Road presented by Tractors. Awesome stuff. We'll see you the next time from Long Beach. So long, everybody.